You are watching the Atlanta Braves Fan Show on Fan Media Network. Hello, everybody. I'm Ryan Siegel, joined alongside by Gardie Her. And Gardie, again, we are now closing in on almost May baseball. Almost May baseball already. Braves are 17-9, still good for first place in the National League East. 2 games in the loss column because I know that that's the only stat that you care about. Uh, 2.5 back or 2.5 up on the New York Mets, who are sitting at 17-11. So Guardy, again, lots to talk about here in the last few weeks. Again, we talked about the Braves getting meaningful wins against teams they should beat, picking up 2 of 3 in San Diego against those Slam Diego Padres, including win last Tuesday 8-1 before coming back home to Truist Park, getting swept by the Houston Astros, and then picking up 3 of 4 against those Miami Marlins from the NL East in that divisional matchup. But the story has been, and we've talked about it a little bit pre-show, and we're going to just dive right into it. We're just going to go right at it. We're going to address it right at the top of the show, just because I know that you've got a lot of opinions. It feels like it's Festivus in April. However, we need to talk about the fact that AJ Minter has blown game after game after game. And I understand that he is a standby a stand-in closer to start the season. But Guardy, today, we're recording today on April 27th. The Braves up 4-0 going into the ninth inning. 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 earned runs in the ninth inning to the Marlins and losing the game 5-4. Guardy, AJ Minter, I know you have been anti-AJ Minter even during his magical postseason run a few years back.
I
The
mean,
floor is yours.
honestly,
I don't know how to tee it up any better.
at this point, I feel like it's not that I'm anti AJ Minter. I'm an AJ Minter truther. I think we've gotten to that level of this one. The fact that he's still on a major league roster and they're still putting him out there in the ninth inning, even if it's April, 26 games into a 162 game season. Yes, I am that upset. And I'm not Stephen A. Smith here. It's not like Stephen A. Smith where he's just yelling to yell. No, I have the stats to back this up. We're talking about a guy who I said I would eat paper on this show if he could put together, what was it, 5 innings
I,
2 years
I
ago?
think it was
Five
like
innings,
five. It was
five
five
games,
good. It was. I think it was 5 good
five
games.
good innings.
Five
Yes,
good
five
games,
good
which is
games.
5 good innings.
And he couldn't do it. So I'm not shocked. That's what I'm saying. I'm not anti AJ Minter at this point. I'm an AJ Minter truther. It would be anti if I was sitting here and somehow there was some argument. But let's look at April 21st. Granted, another reliever for the Braves did blow a 4-1 lead to make it a 4-4 game going into the top of the ninth at Truist Park. But who gives up the 2-run ding dong in the top of the ninth to fully lose the game? Who gets caught with that loss as a reliever? I don't know. AJ
AJ
Minter.
Minter.
2 runs on off 2 hits. You said 5 runs today. It was 5 runs off 5 hits. It's like this guy is like taking shootout goals in hockey. I don't know. And then 423. Let's fast forward 2 days. Okay, to 2-ball game, top of the ninth. 3 runs, 3 hits on a single and a double. If I'm doing my math correct, and I've had calculus twice in college, folks, that's why I talk about sports. That is 10 runs on 10 hits in 6 days.
Your math is correct. As the math
I
guy on the
really
show.
had to think about that for a second.
Yeah, it is 10 runs on 10 hits in the last 6 days. In the last 7 games alone, 6 2/3 innings, 13.5 ERA, 10 runs, 10 hits. And hey, Guardy, he did have one good game. That was yesterday when he locked it down against the Marlins and picked up the save in 1 inning with 2 strikeouts. However, like we mentioned today, playing the Marlins, 2/3 of an inning, didn't even
The
make it through the
Marlins.
ninth inning. The Marlins, the Braves were up 4-0 today. They were 3 outs away from picking up a 4-game series sweep going into New York to go to Citi Field, and they couldn't get it done because they're relying on this guy. Now, Guardy, I know that there's plenty of options out there. It's a shame because the Braves starting pitching is having a incredible start. Kyle Wright today.
Phenomenal.
Kyle Wright, 3 innings, only threw 3 innings today, but picked up six strikeouts in those 3 innings, only gave up 2 hits. Spencer Strider had a no-hit bid, 8 innings pitched, only threw 2 pitches in those 8 innings, his fastball and his slider in that no-hit bid. Max
Damn
Fried
right.
has a sub-1 ERA.
Stud.
So the top 3 in your rotation, including Kyle Wright, who only threw 3 innings today, which that's a story for another day, who was your 20-game winner last year, getting you meaningful outs. You got to have somebody who can lock it down in the ninth inning.
I agree. And obviously, as we said, we've talked about a lot of stuff pre-show. We always do that because we're smart. We're here to produce a good show for you people who watch us. But Raciel Iglesias, we picked up at the deadline, who's had the best ERA of any closer in Major League Baseball since he got traded to the Braves. We got a little positivity here, Ryan. We can think about it this way. He has his first start tonight, April 27th. He is going to be closing it out, hopefully closing it out, for the Gwinnett Stripers. Little rehab assignment. Let's also talk about a little rehab assignment. Let's keep it in Gwinnett. Michael Harris II is there. We're going to also fix a little hole. Maybe then we don't have as much issues in our batting as we do with, AJ Minter, who's hitting 250 conservatively. If you just go by his win-loss percentage there, those last 4 starts. Eddie Rosario is hitting 222 over it in 22 games with 5 ribbies. Not great. Not great at all. Barely hitting his weight if he's hitting his weight. Marcell Ozuna, we know we don't like what he does off the field. He is still, but somehow he's not hitting on the field. 0.85 batting average in 18 games this season. But we have a little bit of a, positive story, something that actually the Braves have done across our entire length of covering them, right? We have another guy who with limited high-level major league experience who is performing on the grandest of stages. His name is Sam Hilliard. He's hitting 296 in the last 20 games. He's got 6 ribby. I think he said a 9-something OPS, one of the top 20-ish in Major League Baseball. And he could be taking over left field for these guys who somehow have forgotten how to hit a Major League Baseball.
You're absolutely right. Again, Sam Hilliard, a 904, 9-something, right on the screws, 904 OPS. And again, going through those batting statistics, Ronald Acuna Jr. he's holding that spot in right field as long as his working knees function for him. Hitting 352 in his 26 games. Orlando Arcia hitting 333. And Sam Hilliard, like you mentioned, going into today, was hitting 300, just dipped today to 296. But again, if you can figure out with Hilliard being a possible 4th off the bench, or possibly keeping Eddie, figuring out what you're going to do with Eddie Rosario, moving Michael Harris back into the starting lineup in center field, and possibly moving Hilliard to even left field, it could continue to kind of stack up for the Braves, where you have 4 reliable outfielders. And again, Marcell Ozuna hitting less than 100 in the major leagues. And Gardie, he is a designated hitter. There's an expression, and I believe it's "you have one job."
Yeah.
I might not be an expert, but if you're a designated hitter in baseball, what's the one job? You're hitting the ball, and you're not hitting the ball.
It's also like the crazy thing is you just need to hit like 260 to be considered as an average hitter to be considered a successful DH, I guess, in today's Major League Baseball. If you've been listening to us for a long time, I have big issues with that. Once again, a story for a different day. But exactly. First of all, the National League does need to get rid of the designated hitter. I understand speeding up the game. I love everything that's happened this season. I love the bigger bases. I love the counts on throwing, how many times you can throw over. I actually kind of enjoy the pitch clock, especially like you watch a guy like Nestor Cortez, some of these also older, wily guys who have figured out a way to use that to an advantage and slow it down even in the sped up game. I love banning the shift. I love all of that. Yet this is just ugh. Like DH in the National League. That was one of the fun things. Like, it was one of the fun things is the fact that, like, oh, shoot, the Yankees have to play in Truist Park. Well, it looks like Garrett Cole has to hit for the first time in the last 3 years. Like, I thought that was fun. I thought the whole point of baseball is that it's unique. It is different everywhere you go. That's why there are no unified sizes of fields other than 90 feet. I mean, Ryan, I don't know if this is just another me, old man yelling at clouds, or I actually have something.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that's also, I mean, you could make a comment about the designated hitter, but I think also just interleague play. Now everybody's playing everybody. You
All the
know,
time.
the Yankees opened the season with Philadelphia on their schedule early in April. Taking a look ahead at the Braves, they host Baltimore next weekend.
And
The
they already
Orioles.
played the Stros.
Yeah, and they just played Houston. So a lot of division games early here, obviously going to the Mets, going to the Marlins before they host Baltimore. And I don't understand. I don't know. I personally don't agree with the everybody play everybody approach because I think that then devalues interleague and basically interleague is non-existent anymore. So at the end of the day, I think that, looking ahead here, and yes, they play the Orioles, that's all that matters at the end of the day. And I think that that's where we really need to kind of focus in on the fact that it's now just a mess. But if you're going to be a designated hitter, circling all the way back to where we started this conversation, you got to be able to hit, and you got to be able to hit above 100. Let's at least try to hit your own weight. However, we want to hear from you, whether at home, on the road, in Truist Park, out of Truist Park. The Braves are in first place, starting pitching, and even let's go middle relief is pitching well. Not going to throw the whole bullpen under the 18-wheeler, just one.
Nope, just one.
Just one, only one.
We're fair here. We blame AJ Minter. We're an AJ Minter truther show.
We're not blaming the rest.
We like all 25 other guys on that roster. The 26 is who we don't like.
Yep. And at the end of the day, again, he's already been sent down to Gwinnett for poor performance in his career. If this continues, it's probably going to be again. However, we are out of time here on this week's episode. So tune in next week at the Atlanta Braves Fan Show on Fan Media Network.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, create a profile in Fan Media Network. Then look for the news page in our website and fan show resources page. Help yourself. We give show hosts a show graphic in team colors, a simple short show format, tips on pre- and post-production, ideas to get fans and guests on your show, Apple News distribution and show sponsorship sales and services to help featured show hosts earn money. Show hosts use our iPhone app to publish their shows. Our website supports Android users.